I cannot be the only person who noticed in corporate America that it tends to be the person who is the most well-liked and well-regarded that gets the promotion, not necessarily the person who is best for the job. And then suddenly you are 28 years old, sitting in front of a microphone, realizing, has this all just been one big popularity contest? Hi, I'm Emily Durham, the host and producer of the Straight Shooter Recruiter podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are listening to our Sunday episode, which means you're in for a treat. It's going to be short, sweet, information packed to get your week started off right, whether you're in school, looking for a new job, or just looking to make more money. And don't forget, on Wednesdays, we have our What Would Emily Do episodes. Those are episodes that you directly get your questions answered in. So if you want to send me your questions, you can always do that with the link in the description of this episode or any episode that we have. Get your question answered. And those are kind of long-winded, rambly, gossipy, very FaceTime energy vibes, which I love. So if that sounds like something that's up your alley, you enjoy up-leveling your life, you enjoy investing in your self-development, subscribe to the show, leave a little rating and a review, and let's hop on into it. There are so many studies that tell us your perceived confidence highly impacts your perceived competence. Let's break that down. How confident people perceive you to be often directly impacts how intelligent and capable they perceive you to be. If you walk into a room knowing nothing about a given topic, but you're standing there tall, you make eye contact, you smile, you're answering questions in a way that's clear and concise, people are going to think, oh my gosh, they're so self-assured in what they're saying, it must be accurate. That is why we see so many people get so viral on social media who have no idea what they're talking about. It's because they have this je ne sais quoi, this star power, this ability to command attention in a room. But that doesn't actually mean they're good at what they're talking about. It just means that they're good at talking. And when we talk about competence, the ability to be good at your job, that's where we talk about the technical skills, the actual ability to execute and deliver. The ideal person, the person who is going to get promoted for the rest of their life and make so much more money than the average individual, has the perfect balance of confidence and competence, because one on their own is just not going to do it. Here is my hypothesis. Because of how we are raised, both with our families and cultural pressures, as well as academic pressures, actually, most especially academic and schooling pressures, we feel like we need to be perfect at almost everything we do. And oftentimes that manifests in us feeling like we need to have perfect grades or perfect projects to put on our resumes. We get so obsessed with having the right technical skills to be on that CV, to be on that piece of paper, that we're actually losing sight of what is arguably more important, which is our stage presence and that confidence that we inherently need. Obviously, it's always going to be important to be an expert in your field and in your craft, but at a certain point, it's easy for us to get obsessed with constantly up-leveling our skills, always looking for that next course, that next credential, that next thing to put on our LinkedIn. And although that is always helpful, if you have the baseline requirements for the jobs that you are targeting, meaning you have the degree they may be looking for, or the certification or skill set they're looking for, I would actually argue that if you shift even some of that energy that you're pouring into your academic or hands-on experience into your confidence building skills, you're going to see much better results. And I want to talk a little bit about the couple of ways you can up-level your perceived confidence in corporate and professional settings such that you will see better results. And just in case you need a friendly reminder, being perceived as more confident makes us seem more competent, which means we're going to get more credibility in the workplace, more access to different opportunities. We're going to be more likely to be put forward for promotions, getting raises, all of that good stuff. We're going to do something that I like to call going shallow to then go deep. There are very superficial surface level ways that we can level up our confidence. And then there are ways that y'all are going to need a therapist for, okay? I'm telling you, there's another life out there where I've got my certification and I am your therapist. Unfortunately, I'm still someone who actively benefits from therapy as a practice because I'm imperfect at all of these things. These are just the skills and tools that have helped me accelerate and help me accelerate my clients' careers. The first thing that is in our span of control, especially in work or school environments, is how we think about our bodies. And our bodies actually communicate much more than our words ever do. In fact, most first impressions aren't formed off of the words that we speak. They're formed off of how we physically show up in the spaces that we're going. So whether this is school, job interviews, showing up to that first day of work, or even in a networking conversation, how we physically present ourselves It matters. I'd be lying if I said it doesn't matter. The first thing that you need to do is get into the habit of mirroring the body language of a confident person. The toughest pill to swallow is that confidence isn't something you are born with. It is an active practice. People wake up every day and choose to perform confidence, and then they hit a point where it's no longer a performance. It's something they believe. It really is the fake it till you make it definition. It's not always that simple, but it does always start with that. So what is the body language of a confident person? First of all, they dress in a way that makes them feel confident. You don't give an SHIT what other people think. Some days I feel most confident in a cozy sweater. It makes me feel good. Other days it's a suit. Put on clothes that make you feel powerful in the context of your work environment or whatever environment you need to win in. The next is your actual physical body language. Are you sitting up tall when you can? Are you making eye contact when comfortable? Do you nod your head? Do you smile when people speak to you? Do you speak with your hands and lean in? Does your body language exude, I'm comfortable taking up space because I know I deserve to be here? Or are we shrinking ourselves and making ourselves feel and look physically small? It's typically a sign that we're insecure or anxious when we're looking down, when we're, fidgeting, not feeling completely comfortable, taking up lots of space and kind of spreading out. And although there are a lot of different factors that play into that, the psychological impact of this is the people around us look at our body language and say, oh, this person is uncomfortable. Like, this person's not comfortable being here. So why am I going to give them more opportunity? Why am I going to give them the spotlight? They clearly don't want to be here. Whether that's ethical or not, it's not, but this is what we need to do. This is part of the game that we need to play. I also don't want to bypass the fact that a lot of the kind of things that we talk about around body language, and actually most tips around career, are extremely geared towards folks who are not neurodivergent. Capitalism inherently has created a space where it's almost impossible to succeed for folks who are not neurotypical, for folks who have complexities with any intersections of their identity. So in no means do I want to bypass that. I'm just relaying some of the things that do play in the back of minds of key decision makers, especially because they're not as educated on these things. And maybe that's a whole other episode, is like the intersections of those, because I definitely don't think it gets spoken about enough. Things I'm going to get you to do effective today is every day when you wake up, you're brushing your teeth, using that mouthwash, washing your face, grooming yourself in a way that makes you feel good. Every single day, especially the days you work from home or study from home, put on an outfit that makes you feel good. For me, it's like a nice new sweater. That's good enough for me some days. I'm emulating confident body language. What if I told you I was actually having a really crummy week, and the last podcast episode that I record, I had to stop because I started crying? That's the kind of day I'm having. My body language isn't giving that. So when I show up to work, my body language is still giving, I'm in control, I've got this, even though I'm going to go home and eat a tub of ice cream and cry. So start with your body. The next is you have to transition the words that you're using. Negative self-talk, it stops today. Your ability and comfortability, really, to speak so ill of yourself and shrink your accomplishments both through humor and through serious is giving other people permission to disrespect you, especially in the workforce. When you say, oh, that project wasn't great, I just threw it together. No, that project was good. That's why they're telling you it was good. When, you get promoted and you're like, oh, well, anyone can do it. No, anyone could, but they didn't. You did. Stop minimizing your accomplishments. Start accepting the compliments that you receive with a kind, thank you, I really appreciate that. Stand in your power. Stop using self-deprecating language. There is no more, oh, I'm so bad at numbers. Oh, I'm so crummy at this. We're done with that. When we shrink ourselves, we give other people permission to see us as small. We're done. We're not doing that anymore. Confident people don't do that. We're also going to own our stuff. This is a tough one. Truly confident people aren't scared to make mistakes because they believe their worth is bigger than the mistakes that they make. Their worth is inherent. It's who they are as a person, and they're flawed, so they're going to make mistakes. If you are the kind of person who is so scared to admit when you don't have the answers, and you're so petrified of feeling like people are going to see that you're imperfect, that you dodge questions, maybe you BS things when you're asked difficult questions, you don't own up to being wrong, you're not humble because it's a defense mechanism, people are going to see through that. That's not confidence, that's ego, and people will not work with ego. It's just not going to happen. we're going to start actively showing up how a confident person would, even if you don't feel like that confident person yet. Can we not just reap the rewards? Can we not just reap the rewards of what a confident person would be reaping? Because I could tell you right now, studies show confident people, people who are perceived to be more confident, make more money. The more balls I acquired over the course of my career, the bolder, frankly, the more aggressive I got, the more money I made. There was a point in my career where from one year to another, my salary doubled. Because I got aggressive. I left the company, I negotiated for my offer letter, and I was like, I want this, I want that, I want that, doubled. It changed the course of my life, that audacity. Specific actions a confident person is going to take, and by the way, effective today, you and I are acting like confident, audacious people, because guess what? They're doing it, why can't we? You're going to make your dream list. What are your goals to hit this year? I'm not even talking 365 days. I'm talking December. So the next 6 months, what are your goals? I've got a couple. I made a list. Make your list. Be bold in what those are. And then be honest with yourself. What needs to happen for you to get there? If the goal is promotion, do you need to start talking to your boss? Do you need to start asking for that raise? What actually needs to happen? And then I'm going to tell you something crazy. You need to give yourself permission to do it. You need to stop ruminating and getting in the cycle of thinking, well, I can't. What if only, I'll do it when. Do it now and be told no. The worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to tell you no and then nothing changes. I would argue the true worst case scenario is you do nothing, knowing that this opportunity was going to be an option for you if you just asked for it. Start asking for the opportunities that are taking you to your goals. And if you're in spaces that are not going to take you to your goals, get out of those spaces. If you were sitting at a red light for 2 hours, waiting for it to turn green, wouldn't you feel silly? Waiting for a red light that has been red for 2 hours to turn green, that light's not turning green, but you're waiting. The opportunities in front of you are there to take. It might not be in the situation you're in right now, and you need to be prepared to make moves to make that happen. But this only starts when you know what your goals are, you know what you need to get there, and you're ready to ask. And don't feel bad for asking. It's normal to feel anxious. It's normal to feel like, I can't ask for this promotion. I'm not that good. Just ask anyways. Ask what they think about your career development. There's always a way to do it that feels authentic to you and doesn't feel scary and overwhelming. But if you look back at your next or last 10 years of your career, do you want to be saying, I wish I did this sooner? Start being audacious today. Truly start being audacious today. Remember how I said we were going to go shallow to go deep? Those are all of the things you can do on the surface to start acting like a confident person would act. It's the same as going through a breakup. And I can say this because I went through a pretty recent awful breakup, y'all. Really bad. Nothing horrible happened. It was just some breakups hit harder than others. And this one was one that just hit. And when I was speaking to my therapist about how I want to move on, because I know logically, who I am. I know what I need. Like I knew logically all of these things, but I couldn't seem to break the habit of overthinking. What if? Was this the right decision? Getting into that mental spiral. And my therapist said something that I want to share with you, which is it doesn't make you delusional or crazy to break the cycle when the cycle's not working for you. The cycle of overthinking, I'm not good enough, isn't adding value to your life. Stopping the cycle and saying, I am good enough, doesn't make you delusional, doesn't make you off your rocker. It doesn't make you any of those things. It means you are actively replacing a negative thought with a positive one. You could make the same argument about your negative thought, that negative cycle is delusional. Why not choose the positive one? Why not choose the one that is going to make you better? And she said, the best thing you can do is feel your feelings. The same way I'm going to tell you, feel that anxiety, feel that fear, accept those feelings, sit with those feelings, and then give yourself permission to act, even though you still feel those things. I might still be anxious or sad or regretful or whatever it may be. I'm still choosing to move forward with my life. And then day by day, I'm going to show up acting like I'm okay, still letting myself feel, but moving forward as if I'm okay. And I've done this before. I know one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be 100% fine. And every day I'm starting to feel better. So I think these are just things we need to give ourselves permission to be delusional in the right way, because you're already being delusional in the wrong way. T. And that's T. The deep stuff is unpacking your core fear. If you don't get that promotion, if you do speak up in that meeting, what is your core fear? Is it that people will see you trying and they'll see you fail? Is it that people will see that you're not smart enough to be there? What is the big core fear that your anxiety always leads back to? And that's what you need to unpack. And mama, I can't help you unpack that. I'm still unpacking mine. My fear is that I'm always going to be too much or too difficult. And I feel that at work too. Like I'm the idea person. So am I too much by having these ideas? Am I too much with this? And I'm not. My idea-ness, my big crazy is why I have the life I have. The same way your big fear of not being good enough is really just your fear of people not giving you how much you give them. And that's a beautiful thing about you. Figure out what that core fear is and find activities that can build confidence around that core fear. Start to dismantle some of those anxieties you have about yourself and who you are as a person, because it will help you in your career. I won't dive too much deeper into that. That's more so a prompt. And there are amazing creators who focus solely on kind of that internal work. But if you've noticed, this season of the show has focused a lot on career, but a lot on mindset and mental health, because to truly, truly have no work anxiety, limited work anxiety, it comes from within, and it comes from self-regulating, and it comes from dismantling core beliefs we have that I'm not good enough, that I'm not shiny enough, that I'm not the smartest person in this room. And it's very powerful to begin to unpack those while we start showing up actively. But if I just told you, hey, go do this, go do that, you're going to be like, Emily, I'm doing those things. I'm getting the promotions. I still feel horrible. It's because you're not dismantling the inner stuff, like the inside stuff, the voice that is telling you you're not good enough. We need to figure out where that voice is coming from. We need to soothe and heal that voice while we do the external work to still build our careers. Period. That is so helpful for me, at least, to hear. I think it's important for us to just be honest. None of us feel 100% confident all the time. But if you start moving like you're confident, baby, the world is going to start opening up for you. And I'm excited for you to have that experience. I am so grateful you spent a little bit of time with me. As always, if you want your if you want your questions answered on the show, make sure you're clicking that link in the description. You'll already know I answer your questions every single week in our What Would Emily Do episodes. I absolutely stink and adore you. Thank you for spending time with me, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.